Hey everyone, it's Don from Don's Field of Dreams Cards. I wanted to make a video. This past weekend, my wife went out of town to visit my daughter in New York City, so that gave me some free time to go visit card shops. And what I found out uh, is card shops don't have a lot of vintage right now. Did a Google search of baseball cards in the Pittsburgh area and took about a 35-40 minute drive up to two of them. And the first one I went to had been around for a while. I talked to the guy that owned it. He's actually the original owner's son, and they still own it. And he said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "I'd like to see some vintage baseball." And he had tons of cases, and he only had one case, and it was a small little section of vintage. And he said, "Right now," he said, "our money is in modern." And we go to the National every year, and I have a whole different set of cards that I don't have out right now. But he said all the money's in modern, and being a business owner myself, I understand it. He's going to put out what sells, but it was kind of disappointing to see the vintage he had. Like, one of the cards I was at first drawn to was a 54 K-line rookie, but it was so off-centered, and just nothing there I was really interested in. But the nice thing about it was I spent 45 minutes to an hour talking to some guy that I literally just met about baseball cards. And that's the beauty of this hobby. It was a lot of fun just sitting there BSing. And I actually felt bad that I didn't buy anything from him, but he didn't have anything really out there. But he had some interesting stories about the uh, the Nationals. He's like, Chicago's really the best one to go to. And he's like, what a lot of people don't realize is the National Chicago is not right in the city. I guess it's in the suburbs somewhere. And I said, well, Cleveland must have been nice for you because that's only a 2 hour drive from us. And he said, logistically, it's a good place. But he said the Union ran it, and not a rip on Union if you guys are Union members, but he was telling me that they charged $50 for each chair that they had at their table, and parking was $125 every day. No matter if you were, even when you're unloading all your inventory, they still charged you $125. And I think the Nationals 3 or 4 days to park. And then he talked about Atlantic City, just saying how the show was fine, but they just never felt safe bringing their inventory in. And then, he talked about Texas and out west, and he said it's just not feasible for us to go there. He's like, we have $1 million in product. Now, does he really have $1 million in product? I don't know. But I understand his point was they just can't drive all the way across the country with that much product. It would take them 4 or 5 days, and or 3 days, whatever it would take. Just didn't logistically make sense to them. But it was still really cool just talking to him. It was just unfortunate he didn't really have any vintage. So I took a ride in the next store, and I walked into this store, and it's about 15 minutes away. I was like, oh my God. Like, I couldn't believe everything they had. And I'm looking around, and like, wow, there's baseballs, and there's statues, and there's cards everywhere. He had a whole section on line out trains. Just looked like a really great store. And that's actually where I picked up this Stan Musial statue right here, or figurine. And I said to him, I said, did I miss it? Like, where's the vintage baseball? And he pointed to this little, like, I don't even know what you'd call it. It was like this little display that turned. And he's like, and I have a few over here. And I mean, there must have only been 20 vintage cards in this store that was amazing with product. And I said, this is all the vintage you have? And he's like, first of all, I can't keep it in the store. He's like, I got a 1956. It wasn't a set, but a bunch of them 2 or 3 days ago, and I sold out of them in 4 or 5 days. And actually, going back to the first store, the guy said, we're just not seeing people selling this vintage anymore. They're going on Heritage, Golden, REA, and selling the product, which I didn't even think about that they felt, they could sell it on there. But I got to think the person who doesn't know anything about cars and just has inherited a collection, or they saved it as a kid, would even know about those. But in the second store, I did pick up some things. And like I said, I picked up this Stan Musial statue. And I'm really into Stan Musial right now and collecting as much as I can. And then in his dollar bin, I found these, modern Stan Musial cards, and they were listed as $1 each, and there's 12 of them. And when I went to check out, he said, "Give me $5 for these cards." So these ended up being 41 cents a piece. So, these are cards I'm never going to get graded. Just throw in a binder. And like I said before, I think in other videos, I'm not trying to get every Stan Musial modern card. I'd be searching forever. But if I like it, I'll pick it up. And then I saw he had a case of Pittsburgh Pirate cards and a stack of 1976, which is the year I started collecting cards. And I said, well, let me see those. And then walking back there to see him, I came across this, and it was $20 for the whole set of 1976 tops with rookies. And I said to him, I think this is probably a better buy. And he's like, yeah. I mean, these came out to less than $1.50 because you have Willie Stargell, the only Hall of Famer in here, and Dave Parker's in here, which would be more than $1. But to buy these cards on eBay, and for the most part, on eBay, they would be, it would cost you more with tax and fees, the fees would go to the seller, but shipping. And they're not perfect, but, they still look really nice. And, for me, again, this is just a memory as a kid collecting these cards. They have the rookies in here. There's the Dave Parker and the Al Oliver, another great player. So it was at least fun going around and looking in there. But I did pick up, I haven't bought a lot on eBay recently, but I did pick this one up. Let me see if I can move this figurine out of here. And love this card, as I do a lot of the vintage Musials. But I used to laugh at this card because I always thought the bat looked funny. I don't know if you guys remember as a kid, they used to have those red plastic bats. Like, it looks real thin at the handle, but then it gets real wide. Like, I always thought the bat just didn't look right in this photo, but still a great card to add. And really loving my Stan Musial collection and picking up items from it. It's kind of fun to find things that you've never seen before. And this card I've seen before, but so just another nice addition to my collection, and wanted to share it with you guys tonight. As always, thank you for watching my channel, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.